After grip, the next thing that we spend time on is the stance. The stance is a really important aspect of the swing. Everyone has different types of stances, and I'm going to show you the best ones to have. So we're going to start from the ground up and get in our stance. The things that we want to see in a good stance is 50-50 balance. A lot of times we have hitters who are on their backside, they put their weight and they sit on their backside. We really want to be able to see that 50-50 balance. Starting with the feet, we really want to see our feet somewhat parallel. We don't really want to see duck feet. What I call duck feet would be your feet pointing out towards the catcher in the pitcher like this. We want this somewhat neutral, parallel stance. We can even have our feet in a little bit, what we call pigeon-toed, a little bit. This is okay. Also working with the feet, sometimes we have hitters who, like Rich here, is flat-footed in their stance, and they're 50-50. But sometimes we have hitters who like to have their heel up in their stance. If you have a hitter that likes to hit with their heel up, make sure that their weight is more balanced. A lot of times when we have hitters who have their heel up, when they do their heel up, they go a little bit higher, they'll have all their weight on their backside. So make sure if their heel is up, they get back to that 50-50 position. And again, that's probably the biggest mistake we see with hitters with their heels up is they have their weight on their backside. As we move up his body, we want to make sure that the knees are inside the feet. And so if I was to draw a line straight from his knees, you would see that they were inside of his feet. If he has his weight back over his foot right here, you'll see that his back knee is over his foot. We don't want to see that. We really want to see those knees stay inside of our feet with that good 50-50 balance. As we move up, again, this is the things we want to see in the upper body. We want to see that good grip, loose shoulders and muscles. We want to see that the eyes, nose, and chin are in front of the belly button. If we were playing basketball or guarding someone in football, we would have this eyes, nose, and chin over the middle of our body. But for good posture, we want this eyes, nose, and chin in front of our belly button a little bit, creating this really good posture. We also want to make sure that the head is straight, and the dominant eye, which for most hitters, right-handed hitters, or the right eye, can see the pitcher the entire time. We also want to make sure that this shoulder is slightly below this shoulder right here, creating this good posture. Something we call the K posture is something that I'll tell my hitters a lot about. Creating this K posture means that if I was to draw a line down his body here, and from his shoulders to his belly button to his front, he creates this really good K. A lot of hitters, especially youth hitters, will start with this shoulder back, their head behind their belly button, and now they don't have this K posture anymore. They have this kind of straight line down their bodies here. And so getting back to that good posture where this shoulder's a little bit below this shoulder, my eyes, nose, and chin are in front of my belly button a little bit, I create this really good balanced K posture. And when I'm working with hitters, we're always talking about maintaining your K, having a great K posture. And so this is a great posture from head to toe in the stance. So here's some other thoughts on stance and things that are okay and not okay in the stance. So in this stance right here, this is a very neutral, even stance. But having a stance that's more open is okay too. Okay, a lot of hitters will start with this open stance, and when they stride, they'll come back to open, closed like this. This is okay. Same with having a little bit of a closed stance. We have some hitters that every once in a while will start a little bit closed. Not a huge fan of it, but it's okay as long as when they stride, they get back to this good position, neutral position right here. So again, we usually start with a neutral position, but I'm okay with having a little bit open. If there's anything I would prefer the hitter to be a little bit more open. It allows them to see the pitcher a little better with their eyes, and an open stance is totally okay. The next thing I want to talk about is just width of the stance. Sometimes we have hitters that stand really tall and have a narrow stance. This is totally okay. I want the hitters to be comfortable in this stance. I have no problem with this. And actually a small stance can be better for weight transfer. It really forces the hitter to really transfer their weight. Alexa here has more of a medium stance, which is great too. It just means that she's going to have a medium stride. And then you're also going to have hitters, which I really only recommend for big hitters. If you are a big, strong hitter, it's okay to have this big stance, kind of this no stride, large stance. I would say that for most hitters, I would not recommend this stance. Really only for really large hitters that don't need any type of weight transfer going forward to get into the ball. And so for most hitters, I recommend either a narrow or a medium stance and a good weight transfer into their swing. And we're going to talk about that more in the load and stride process. But for right now, those are the three: small, medium, and large. The next thing I want to talk about is just the hand placement and the elbows. For most hitters, we like to have their hands kind of equal to their shoulders, but you're going to come across some hitters who might be a little bit higher And you might have some hitters that like to have their hands a little bit lower. For most hitters, elbow up and elbow down is a hot topic when hitting. I am totally okay with either one of those things. If you are a hitter that likes to have their elbow up, they're just going to have a different load process than someone who has their elbow down. Hitters that have their elbow down are just going to have an entirely different load process to their swing. So however they want to have their elbows up or down is totally okay with me. Let's go back to your stance and your, so if they're an elbow up person or elbow down, it doesn't matter. We want to kind of have these hands somewhere in this area. We don't want to be able to have our arms too far back, and we definitely don't want our hands too far forward. You'll see with Alexa here, she's got this, what I call a good L. It's kind of, she has a really good L with her front arm, and if her hands get too far away, you'll see she loses her L, and same thing with here, it kind of gets into a weird shape. So the next thing that we kind of use for our hitters as a cue is the knob of the bat. We want this knob to either be pointing vertical, straight down, or somewhat towards the catcher a little bit. If you have a hitter that their knob of the bat goes more towards the pitcher, it's going to take them a long time in their load to get to a good hitting position. And to add that extra time into our swing, especially when we get to the higher levels like college and pro, it makes it really difficult to make contact, even for younger hitters too. And so again, top to bottom, we want to be able to make sure we have this really good stance. Our hands are right here, elbow up or elbow down is perfectly fine, and that's a good stance right there.